Hello everyone, this is your old buddy Dustin. Welcome back to Funny Papers. I hope you're having a good week. I'm having a pretty good one. Although my desk is a little, the desk in the studio right now is a little cluttered, but that's okay. Things kind of catch up. And one thing that's on my to-do list is to clean up this desk. Jeez, I need it. When you have sticky notes that kind of like clutter your workspace, then it's time for a little bit of, it's time for a little purge. Well, and don't get me wrong, I keep a pretty clean workspace. I really do. And it's just my nitpickiness. That's not a word, nitpickiness. Well, then maybe we'll make that the word of the day. Made up word of the day. Well, I wanted to talk to you about, but I just wanted to bring up a thought that I had earlier today. I had to run into work. I had to go to work today, which is, it's a Sunday. Today's a Sunday. I need to make sure to preface that it's a Sunday, and working on a Sunday for me is kind of, my most favorite thing to do. But you know what? I did it because, God knows I need the work, and I like to help people. So I work today. Long story short, which I've already made long, but I was not looking forward to it, as you could tell. I wasn't looking forward to it last night, and I also wasn't looking forward to it when I woke up this morning. And that feeling kind of came about even though I made myself a really nice cup of coffee and poured it into my carrier to, my to-go cup to bring to work. And it was already hot outside. It was already really hot, and that didn't help my mood at that point. I'm going, okay, it's going to be a really hot day, and I don't want to be here in the first place. But what really turned it around when I got into my car, I plugged in my phone into the stereo, and I usually listen to music on my way, on any drive, anywhere I'm going. But I plugged my phone in and turned on Pandora, which is usually just kind of a shuffle of whatever I've got on there. And it just so happened that a song came on that just really changed my mood. It came on and it pumped me up. And I went from feeling totally uninterested and unhappy with my situation to absolutely fine. And that feeling is amazing. It's magic. The power of music is just something that doesn't come from a lot of things other than maybe perhaps drugs, but music could be perhaps perceived as a it wouldn't be a drug, but it induces drug-like endorphins and chemicals within your brain. But that's what happened to me this morning. It's just that song came on, and it transformed my thought and my feeling about the day instantaneously. And after a few minutes, the song finished, and I was just in such a different place. It was amazing. And have you ever had those times where you just want to listen to a song again just because you want to repeat that feeling? I mean, that's the power of music, and that's just what I want you to think about today. It took me by surprise. So anyway, with all of that, let's move on to the funny papers. What do you think? I'm laughing already. Let's start with one that I haven't done for a while. Why not? Come on. The zits. Why not? The zits. And the Zits is by Jerry Scott and Jim Borgman. And our little scene starts with Jeremy and his girlfriend, Sarah. Looks like they've kind of climbed out Jeremy's window, and they're sitting on the roof of their house, of Jeremy's house, looking up towards the sky. Sarah's wearing a green shirt, and Jeremy's in his blue jeans and a white t-shirt. Sarah's got her hair pulled back into a ponytail, and Jeremy's barefooted, kind of just sitting on the roof, looking up towards the sky. And Jeremy says, "Is our universe unique or just one of many?" And Jeremy's kind of laid back. He's got his hands behind his head and a reclined back, still thinking, and Sarah's looking down at him. And Jeremy says, "Why is there something instead of nothing?" And now we've cut away, and Jeremy's still laying on his back on the roof, but Sarah's kind of stood up and recoiled back. She says, "How can your feet stink so bad outdoors?" Jeremy replying, "Yet another of life's imponderables. Yet another of life's imponderables." As this, that was a short one, huh? Well, so they're out on the roof, and they're kind of, Jeremy's kind of, he's kind of postulating. He's looking up at the stars and he's just thinking out a world. But I guess his feet really stink, because Sarah wasn't having any of it. How can your feet stink so bad outdoors? I don't know. Jeez, I thought that was going to be funnier, but in reading it again, that was funny papers. This is the funny papers, everybody. This is the funny papers, and that was not a funny paper. That was a something paper. Well, the Zits, if you've listened to the Zits, or if you've seen the Zits, rather, in the past, they do have their funny moments. And this one was a simple one. There's just 3 frames. And it was just Jeremy and his girlfriend Sarah sitting on the roof, looking up at the stars, and Jeremy kind of, thinking, thinking outer-worldly, if that's a word. But, at the end of the day, Sarah couldn't stand the smell of his feet. I'm sure people that have, stinky feet. Yeah, I've had stinky feet, but that's only after, a really hot day, and I haven't washed my feet or something. I don't know. I'd like to think I don't have stinky feet, but there are people that do. That's for sure. Okay, to hell with that. Let's move on. Baby Blues. You know what? I haven't done this one in so long. I haven't done this one in a really long time. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is, I think last week, or maybe the week before, I mentioned the fact that outdoor pools, like backyard pools, inflatable pools, kind of there was kind of a shortage or a run on them. Like if you were to go into a Walmart and try and buy a pool, like an outdoor inflatable pool, they were sold out just because everybody and their mothers wanted a pool, because obviously public pools are all closed right now. And that's what Baby Blues is about. And I've brought Baby Blues on the show before. That sometimes they're the content's a little hard to relate to, but this one's just funny. I think it's really funny. So this is Baby Blues, and it's by Rick Kirkman and Jerry Scott. And we start with Daryl McPherson. He's kind of the father of the family. And he's outside right next to an inflatable pool out in the backyard. Yeah, the pool's got like these little illustrated, little drawn on fish on the side. And he's on his hands and knees, kind of working on the side of the pool. And next to him is a little box that's open. He's sticking something on the side. Looks like he's doing a little pool repair, perhaps. Oh, and Daryl, by the way, he's red hair and glasses, and in this scene, he's wearing a gray T-shirt and kind of a floral swim trunks. Looks like he's about to maybe jump in a pool or go swimming in the ocean. And although, from what he's doing, I'm assuming he's gonna get into the pool. But he's working on it. He looks like he's putting something on there. He's working. And now we cut to him. He's holding the hose, and it appears he's filling the pool with water from his garden hose. And all of a sudden, from the side of the pool, there's and water starts flowing out. He's looking down at it. He goes, "Oh man." Obviously frustrated. So now he's back down in our next frame. He's down on all fours. He's working on another patch. Looks like he's going to patch up the pool again. Put another fix on that inflatable pool. He's put the patch on now. He's standing up and holding the garden hose and filling it up again. And from another side of the pool, completely different spot, and water flows out. He's looking down at it. He's exclaiming in frustration, "God!" That pool just won't hold water. It just keeps leaking from every side. So now we cut, and Wanda, his wife, has walked out the back door, and it looks like she's carrying out some beach towels. It looks like maybe they're getting ready to go swimming or something, and she's come out. And she sees exclamations coming from other side of the yard. From old Daryl, that's still working on the pool. And he's screaming out, "Oh, for God, come on!" He's cursing. He's just cursing that pool. She's looking over at him, kind of surprised. But now she's walked over and she's looking at Daryl, who's back down on the ground, still kind of working on it. The pool's just leaching water. I mean, it's just a sieve. It's not holding water at all. But she's looking over at him. She says, "So we're $20 into patches on a $5 pool?" Daryl, looking up, frustrated. "It's the principle of it, Wanda." There's Baby Blues. So Daryl was just he was hard set to try and patch that pool, but clearly enough, the pool just needs to be replaced. Because Wanda says, we're $20 into a $5 pool. Just give up, Daryl. Just give up. I mean, have you ever been in a situation where it's just kind of, it gets personal. That's what I like to say. It's personal now. You want to fix this thing. You're working on it, and it's getting personal. I've been there before. I'm sure you have as well. But I don't know about this type of situation though. If for one thing, I don't have a pool in my backyard. I don't have an inflatable pool. But if I were dealing with something like that, I'd say to hell with it and toss the thing. I'd just go buy a new one. Unless you couldn't at Walmart. because of the shortage on outdoor pools. Oh, there's baby blues. Kind of funny. I don't know. Maybe you didn't feel that way, but I did. Well, let's move on. I could go right below it. Why don't we do that? Why not? For the ease of things, right below that one on my particular Funny Papers page is Garfield. Let's go to that one. Why not? Well, it's not like you're gonna tell me not to. It's not like you're gonna call me and say, hey, it's a bad choice, Dustin. So Garfield. Garfield is another good one. This one's simple. This one's pretty simple. And this is a Garfield, Garfield by Jim Davis. Pardon me. So we start with Odie. Odie the dog. Ooh, Odie. He's laying down and he's fast asleep. And he's got a thought bubble coming out above him. He's dreaming because he's fast asleep. And in his bubble, Odie is just exclaiming. He's just absolutely excited. His ears are straight up in the air, his arms outstretched, and in front of him is a gigantic bone. The bone's twice the size of him, and he's excited. And he's hopped over, and now he's chomped down on that bone. He's got it in his mouth, and he's hopping along. Big smile on his face. And he's now taking that bone, and he's hugging it, and just doing circles with it. He's spinning around. It's like he's dancing with it. He's got his giant bone. What kind of bone do you think that is? It's got to be like some sort of, I don't know, a dinosaur bone, or it's a big bone. But he's in full embrace, hugging this bone, spinning around. And now in the next frame, he's still dreaming, by the way. He's laying down on the ground, tail wagging like crazy. He's looking at it. There's a heart coming out above his head. He loves that bone. He's looking at it, sitting there in front of him. Odie is in love with that bone. Next frame, Odie's dream bubble kind of puffs away. He's waking up. His eyes are kind of dreary, and he's been sleeping, so he's got kind of those sleepy eyes. And the next frame shows Odie's looking down. He's just woken up. But his bone is sitting in front of him, much smaller than his dream bone. The bone's probably about the size of I don't know, maybe a TV remote. But it's sitting in front of him, and his tail's wagging like crazy. And there's a heart coming out above his head. Odie's in love with that bone. Even though it's a little smaller than his dream bone, it's still a bone. There's Garfield. What do you gotta love that. Come on. If you don't, then get out of here. No, I'm just kidding. Don't get out of here. Just get out of town, mister. That's a good story. That's a good story. Odie just loves his bone. I mean, what do you think dogs dream about? Do you think they dream about? I mean, sometimes you'll come upon a dog that'll be dreaming about something, and you'll see kind of their leg kicking or whatever. I mean, what dream do you think what kind of dream do you think they're having? It's hard to tell. But Odie's dream is about that giant bone. But he wakes up and sees it in front of him, another bone. It's not as big, but still sitting there. Oh man, the life of a dog. You know, we talked about it last time. You know, the idea of trying to of switching places with a dog or your pet for a day. I really think it would be it'd be interesting. It could be, I don't know. It could be terrible. Who knows? There's Garfield. That's not, you know what I'm realizing right now is that this episode is not very thought provoking. But whatever, man. Who cares? I'm just kind of doing it, and hopefully you're just kind of listening to it. But I want you to come back. How about one more? Maybe. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna open up the paper again. How many people do you know still take the paper and still read the comic strips in the paper? Is it that many? Am I an old soul in a young body? I'm not a young person, but younger than most, perhaps. Yeah, well, let's do Pearls Before Swine. Pearls Before Swine, and I have been pronouncing his name wrong for months. And you guys out there haven't said anything to me. I wish you had. I've been calling him Stephen Pastis, and that's completely incorrect. It's Stefan Pastis. It's my fault. It's Stefan Pastis. He's actually a cool dude. You should look him up. This is Pearls Before Swine by Stefan Pastis. We got Pig that's kind of trotting out from his house. Big smile on his face. He's kind of moved along and now he's walking down the sidewalk. Big smile on his face still. He looks the same. I don't know what's got him all jived up, but he is. He's walking past a building that has an open sign on the door and it says Clive's. It's got a mug of beer underneath it. It looks like he's gone inside Clive's and he's approached his buddy who's sitting there with a mug of beer. He's pointing over and he says, "Pig." Pig says with his hands up in the air, balled in fists, happy. Says, "Neighbor Bob." And now a bunch of other people have come over and they're all holding beers and happy to see him. Giving him hugs and high fives. And the woman that's hugging him says, "Welcome, Pig." Pig says, "Long time no see." And now another woman has walked up with a mug of beer and she's raising it in the sky, giving Pig a cheers, and she says, "To a whole day of eating, drinking, and being together." And another person that's walked up says, "One whole day." Pig, happy as ever, big smile with his hands up in the air. He says, "One day." And now we cut to Pig, who's sitting inside behind his window, looking outside into the outdoor. And he's wearing a mask over his face, a surgical mask over his face, and with his hands on the glass, kind of melancholy, says, "One day." Pearls Before Swine. Yeah, I mean, we all feel that way, don't we? At least I do. You look back on times where you were, before all of this happened, and, you went out and enjoyed time with friends and in groups of people, and now we're kind of feeling a little stir crazy, and one day we will. And so that's what Pig feels, one day we'll be back to that, and we will. I know that, and I think everybody out there does too. And the part of me that's an optimist, the ever optimist that I am, is that that's going to happen sooner than we think. At least, like I said, ever the optimist. That's gonna happen sooner than then we can perceive. That's my hope. That's my thought. And I'm going to stick to that, because if there's anything in life that can kind of bring you down, is a glass half empty type of outlook on things. If you're looking at things and you're optimistic and you can kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel, even though as far away as it may seem, keep that up there. Yeah, there's really nothing worse than having a bad outlook on anything that you're facing. If you could spend that amount of time thinking about the possibilities for something good, that makes a lot more sense for your time. It's really hard to get out of a funk, and I call a funk because it's just something that your mind is kind of wrapped around. Get out of that funk, get out of that pity pot, as I also like to call it. Things are going to be okay. Hey, Pearls Before Swine is one that was that one. I don't know, I feel like I was going down a little bit of a rabbit hole there. That was Pearls Before Swine. Do I have time for one more? I think maybe so. Oh yeah, of course I do. I always have time for this one, and you know what it is. That's the pickles. I'm gonna end today with the pickles. Not thought-provoking, but still fun. And the pickles is by Brian Crane. And we got Earl asleep on the couch with his dog Roscoe, sleeping next to him with Roscoe's chin on Earl's lap. They're both sound asleep, and in front of them the TV is blaring. You can see kind of the motion coming out of the face of the TV. And Opal's walked up behind the couch, and she's looking down at the two with her hand on her hip, just looking down at them, and there's big Z's coming out from the two of them, sound asleep. Now Opal's picked up the television remote, and she's clicked the power button. Click. Turned off the TV. And now all of a sudden, both Earl and Roscoe have woken up. Opal's standing there holding the remote and looking at him. But Earl, as he's jumped awake, says, "Hey, I was watching that." And Opal, leaning in a little closer, looking down at the two, who are looking up at him with a little kind of annoyed look on their face. Opal says, "With your eyes closed?" Earl responds, "Yes." Now Opal, looking down, continuing on, she says, "And snoring like a buzzsaw?" Opal started to walk out of the room as Earl and Roscoe are sitting on the couch, looking as she walks away, and Earl says, "I was clearing my sinuses." As the pickles. Well, that one wasn't that good either. I mean, but that's kind of a classic joke where you're watching TV and someone changes the channel and it's like, "Hey, I was watching that." I mean, there's part of the... I think when you're asleep, there's actually evidence to show that if there's like a stimuli that happens while you're sleeping, or maybe at the early stages of sleeping, like for a nap or something, that if like that it affects the way that you sleep, and not always in a positive way. They say that going to sleep with like a movie or a television show on is not good for your sleep cycles. It's still stimulating your brain in a weird way, whereas complete silence and darkness will help to foster a better night's sleep. But like if you have just kind of dozed off in a nap on the couch with the TV on, it's very possible that, you know, when someone changes the channel or even turns it off, that it could bring you out of sleep. Your brain's kind of still activated when there's stimuli happening. It's really an interesting thing. I mean, I know the Pickles isn't going that deep into that. It's just kind of a tongue-in-cheek topic where it's like, hey, I was watching that, even though he really wasn't. I don't know. There's the Pickles. And I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining me today. You know, it's fun. This week was a little different, as they all are. You know, but you know, stick around and you'll see other ones. The newest thing that I'm still kind of noodling is the whole YouTube thing. As you know, that this is a podcast and there's no video portion yet. I'm working on that, and I'm not sure how that will go, but stay tuned. I'll keep you well informed. The other thing that it was kind of tongue in cheek last week. I talked about putting out Funny Papers bumper stickers where it would say, I'm a Funny Papers person. There was a few people that commented on that, a few people that reached out and said that'd be really cool. So that's on the short list for a Funny Papers person bumper sticker. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and I'd be happy to oblige. So thanks for coming around, and until next time, I'll see you in the Funny Papers, my friends.